Daniel here for Tabletop for One. Please join me at the table as I teach and play through SuperHot the Card Game. And I thank you for joining me for this tutorial and solo playthrough of SuperHot the Card Game. This is designed by Manuel Correia and published by Gray Fox Games. And I got this a while back, and I've had a ton of fun with this. I'm not very good at this game, but I do look forward to showing it to you here. Now, SuperHot the Card Game is based off of a video game where time moves quite slow for you. It only moves when you move, and you dodge bullets and shoot enemies and try and get through the different goals of the game. Well, they've transferred that into a card game format where it's a deck building game, kind of, sort of. It's more like a deck management game. You'll see as we get into the play, but let's go ahead and go into setup here. And so for setup here, you're going to have this little play mat here set up, and it tells you exactly where everything goes. So first you have your 12 bullets, and these are all the same kind of cards, so it doesn't matter. There's no reason to shuffle them. You just stick them right there. You'll shuffle up your goal deck and set it right here. You also have these little bullet tokens here. These are used to track goals, so set those there. And then you have your player deck, which contains 8 cards that have the P1 at the top of the card here. There's also 8 P2 cards. You don't need the P2 cards. Those go back in the box. That's for 2-player. But you'll take your 8 P1 cards here. You're going to shuffle these up, and you'll place them on your player deck here. And then you'll shuffle up the obstacle deck, and you're actually going to place this face up in this spot here. But before we do that, we're going to take the bottom 10 cards here, like so. We're going to take 1 bullet, and then we're going to shuffle this in here, just like that. And we'll place these back underneath the obstacle deck. And then we will populate the obstacle, or what's called the line. It's these 6 cards here. And these are the obstacles you're going to be facing. And then last but not least, we draw our first goal card of the game. Now, in order to understand goal cards here, you need to understand how you win the game. You win the game by completing 3 levels. And for level 1, you have 1 gold card. Once you complete that, we'll go on to level 2. Then you'll draw 2 new gold cards. And then once you complete those, we'll go on to level 3 and you have 3 new gold cards. If you get through all the goals, then you win the game. Now, the way you lose the game is if you ever have at least 4 bullets in your hand, or if you run out of bullet cards on the bullet deck there, or if there are not enough obstacle cards in the discard and the deck to refill the line. And if for some reason you can't refill up your hand to the 4 hand size, then those are the ways you lose the game. Now, when it comes to drawing a goal card, you're actually able to veto the goal, but you basically delay it for 1 level. So if I decided that this particular goal card here, which means I have to allow 8 enemies to shoot bullets, that's not good. I could veto this one, and I would place it over here. And then the next level, it would automatically become one of the goals. I think I will keep it. Having them shoot 8 times, that's not good. But I think I will keep it for now. And the way you track these things, on this card here, it shows, 1, 2, 3, and all the way to 8. The way you track those is you just use one of these bullets here. And so you'll place the bullet, if an enemy shoots twice, like this shotgun enemy here, he can shoot 2 bullets at a time. So if he shoots twice, then I would move it to the 2 spot on this card, and you just keep counting it up. The last part of setup I forgot to mention is you do draw 4 of these cards, and these will be your starting hand of the game. And so before I talk about the flow of the game, let me talk about the anatomy of a card. So on a card, you're going to have the ability at the top here, above the red line, of what you get when you actually play the card. The bottom part is what is called an obstacle ability. So when obstacle abilities trigger, this is what's going to happen at the bottom. Now, the bottom right cost here is what it costs to destroy or knock out a card. Now, they could have a solid red symbol or a solid gray symbol, and that indicates what kind of resources are needed to pay for. But with this symbol here, where it's gray and red, you can use all gray, all red, or a mix of both to knock out a card or destroy it. So that's the anatomy of the cards. Some of the cards have special abilities, like this one here says it gives you 2 of the red combat, or you can destroy a flying bullet. A flying bullet is a bullet in the line. And then others like this one here. This one gives you a number of the gray resources depending on the number of cards in your player discard pile. Now, as the turn goes, you're going to be deciding to wait or move on your turn. If you decide to wait, you can discard any number of cards from your hand, and these go into this obstacle discard here. Then you take the rightmost, the number 1 position obstacle card, and you're going to place this in your player discard. Now, as an exception to that rule, if this is flipped upside down, it would instead go into the obstacle discard. I'll explain how those get flipped upside down in just a moment. And so if you choose that wait option, then you go straight on to number 5, check the goals. I'll explain that later. But for now, we're going to talk about the move option. It's the other option for the number 1 spot in the turn phase. Everything's listed here also on a phases in the turn card here. And so the other option is to move. Now, when you move, time moves, and things happen. So you have to keep that in mind. And the way it works is you are able to play cards from your hand into the used cards area. And so when you play cards, it's going to signify your movement. And you play cards and use their corresponding abilities again above the line. And so the starting cards here, they don't do anything extra. They just have 1 of each resource on them. And so what you decide to do is you decide to handle one of the obstacles by paying the resources. And so you have to look at their bottom portion of the card here and see what you want to pay for. Now, when you pay for a card, let's say I decided to pay for this Katana. All right, I'm going to attack the Katana guy. Now, he has a cost of 4 of any kind of resources, and so I have 4 here. So let's say I played this here. Then what I can choose is to either destroy this card, and what happens when you destroy it, it actually gets added to the new card area, and it becomes one of the first cards in your next hand. So it'll become something that you can use. Or I can flip it over and knock it out. Now, when you knock it out, it just flips over and it won't activate its negative ability in subsequent turns. And so you have to decide which one you're going to do there. So let's say I decided to destroy it. And you can continue to destroy or knock out cards as you like with the move action, but I'm out of cards at this point. So what happens is you refill your hand. And so first you draw any cards from the new cards area into your hand. And then if you don't have enough to make 4, you draw from your player deck here. And so I would draw 3 more and add this to my hand. And that would be my hand for the next turn. But then we go on to what is called maneuvers. And so it signifies that the time has passed and you've maneuvered past a bunch of cards. And so what happens is you count the number of cards in your used area. And that is the number of columns in the line that you're going to remove cards from. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So then I get to remove from 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you count always this way, right to left. And it doesn't matter if it's empty or not. You don't skip over empty spaces. So if this was the case here where this one was empty, I'd just only grab these 3 cards. I wouldn't skip over and grab this as a 4th card. It's not the number of cards, it's the number of spaces. And so in this case here, all 4 of these cards would then get added to my player discard. And they will become part of my deck when I reshuffle. And then these 4 cards here end up in the obstacle discard. So these are going to end up in the main obstacle deck. This is a good thing for us because these particular obstacles aren't that big of a deal, but that's where they go. And then what happens here is that we move on to check your goals, and we see if we've completed all the goals for the level. If we have, then we complete the level and move on to the next level. But if we haven't, we move on to obstacle abilities. And this is where the obstacles do things to you. So in this case here with a baseball bat, this guy here, he's going to shoot for every enemy card that's in my hand at that moment. And so I look at my hand, And remember, this is after you've drawn a new hand. So I look at my hand. Oh, I have 1, 2, 3 enemies in my hand now. And so with those 3 enemies, he's going to send 3 bullets my way. And the way the bullets work is they actually go into the obstacle discard here. So you're not going to see him for a little while until the obstacle discard gets reshuffled into the deck. And then what we do after that point is we move everything down, slide everything down to the right, and then refill the line and start the new round. All right, so that is the gist of how you play. A lot of this comes into view as you play it. It's a little counterintuitive to how it works. The cards you use exit your deck. The cards you destroy get added to your deck. The cards you maneuver around get added to your discard. It's really interesting how this all works, but it's a really fun and challenging puzzle as you're trying to figure out how to accomplish each goal. And so let's go ahead and get started. And I am going to do exactly what I showed you in the example. I'm going to spend all 4 of these cards. We're doing a move action. And so with these 4 cards here, I can get rid of this katana. And I'm going to put it in my pile here, the new cards area. And then we go on to refill my hand. So I gain the katana into my hand and I draw 3 new cards here. And then we look at maneuvers. I played 4 cards. So the first 4 slots here get put into my discard. And then we discard these into the obstacle discard here. And then we check for the goals. Of course, I haven't completed any goals yet. And then we check for the obstacle abilities. Now he's going to shoot 1 bullet for every enemy card in my hand. And I have 3 enemy cards in my hand. So 3 bullets are going to get added to the obstacle deck here. And then we're going to slide everything down. We're refilling the line. So this one moves down. Then we slide these in just like so. And we're ready for the next round. Now, one thing I forgot to do was I had 3 bullets shoot at me. And so they shot 3 bullets. So I'm up to 3 on my current goal. So I just need to allow 5 more bullets to be shot. But of course, I don't want to allow too many more than that, It's going to start clogging up the obstacle deck, and then I'm going to have a bunch of bullets flying at me. All right, so for this turn, I want to mention that you don't have to use all the cards in your hand. If you want to save a card for later, you could. And I think what I want to do right now is I want to play these 2 here. All right, so I put them in my used card area. It gives me 2 to attack the gun. This dude with the gun is going to go into my new cards area. And the reason why I chose that is it's going to be added to my hand. Now I see a dude with a shotgun coming. He costs 5 of any combination of resources. And so if I add this to my current hand for the next turn, I will have 5 of any kind of resource and I will be able to deal with him. And so I'm not going to use these other cards for this turn. So we move on to refill my hand. So I add this straight into my hand right here. I have 3 cards, so I need 1 more to add to my hand. Now, the player deck here is empty, but you don't reshuffle it until you need to draw a card. And so now we move on to maneuvers. I use 2 cards, so I maneuvered out of the way of these 2 cards here. And then we discard these 2 into the obstacle deck here. Now we check for goals. Of course, I haven't completed my goal yet. And then we move on to obstacle abilities. The dude with the gun is shooting 1 bullet. All right, so 1 bullet gets added to the obstacle discard, and I move up 1 on my goal. Now at this point, all of these move down, like so, and then we're going to add the shotgun here. All right, so I definitely want to go with what I was planning there and attack the shotgun, because I don't want him to shoot that many bullets. Although it's tempting just to leave it, right? Because if I leave it right now, he's going to shoot 2 bullets, and that's going to work towards my goal. Maybe I should instead deal with the katana, and I could play 3 cards for that. That'll be these 3 here. I'll still keep the other katana that I have. And so, yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'll take the katana, and so then I refill my hand. So this one gets added to my hand. Now we have to shuffle this and make a new deck. And I draw 2 cards, add those to my hand. So I have a pretty good hand going into the next round here. But then we do the maneuvers, and so these 3 here go into my discard. These 3 here exit into the obstacle discard. And then we check the goal I haven't completed. And then we move on to the obstacle abilities. Now the bottle doesn't have anything, but the dude with the shotgun does. He's going to shoot twice, and so 2 more bullets get added to the obstacle discard. And so now we move on. We're up to 6 bullets being shot. So we just need 2 more and we'll finish the first level. And so with that, we slide everything down here. Now you'll notice there is this card here. It actually has a beneficial ability. The pillar here, it'll let you draw an extra card if it stays here in the line. But it looks like we got a lot of formidable enemies coming my way here. So I think we want to let this shotgun shoot, but we don't want to let these guys shoot. I think that's the right call. So what I will do is I will play these 2 here against these 2 guns here. Now I do want to say something. You can't split the cost of a card between 2 cards. So each time you play a card, it has to be for 1 card, or a combination of cards for another card. But any leftover resources from those cards played can't be used for another card. Also, you can't play more cards than you need to. So for instance, I couldn't play 2 katanas here for 1 gun. I'd have to only play 1 katana for 1 gun. And so with that in mind, this is going to leave the pillar in place. So I'll get to draw an extra card next turn. This will cause the dude with the shotgun to shoot twice. And these 2 will end up in my discard. So this is actually a really good spot for me. And on top of that, these 2 guns right here, they just go straight into my hand. So I have a lot to deal with here. And then these 2 cards go into my discard. Again, maneuvering 2 cards here, or 2 spots. And then these 2 go in here. And then we check the goal. I haven't completed the goal yet. So we move on to obstacle abilities. And so this one triggers. I draw an extra card. And it's the baseball bat. So I've got a lot of good stuff going there. And then we deal with this one. He's going to shoot twice. So 2 more bullets. Now I'm getting low on bullets, all right? So there's 3 bullets left in the bullets deck. That's not good, because if there are no bullets left in the bullets deck, I lose the game. But at this point here, we've got to 8 bullets shot, so we can flip this over as completed. So on the next check, we'll check to see if everything's flipped over here, and I will move on to the next level. But it does mean we have to play 1 more round. And so let's see how this goes. Drawing these in here. Lots of guns and a shotgun. That's not good. Well, the nice thing is we can play a couple of the guns for, a couple of the guns. Now the question is, do I want those guns in my hand, or do I want them to go back into the obstacle deck? Because that's an option, because if I choose right now, I could just flip these over and they won't end up in my hand. But I think it's early for that. I think I'd rather have them end up in my hand, but I still have to deal with that shotgun, because I don't want that shotgun shooting right now. And so I'm going to play both of these cards. It is 6 resources, but he only needs 5 to destroy him. But I will go ahead and destroy him, and he's going to get added to my hand. Now at this point, we refill my hand, so I'm adding these 3 cards back into my hand. I don't draw anything from my deck because I have 4 cards in my hand. And then we'll discard these 3 here into my deck, and these 4 here will go into the obstacle deck here. All right, so now we go on to check goals, and since we have completed all the goals, we are going to move on to the next level. And so when you complete the level, you're going to place this card underneath the deck of gold cards, like so. And then you're going to take all the cards from the line, from the discard in the deck, and then you're going to shuffle these, and then redistribute them into a new line. And you do the same with your cards, your hand, your discard, and your deck. You're going to shuffle these and draw 4 new cards. So my 4 new cards here, still not bad. Baseball bat, shotgun, how about glass, and a gun. Now how about glass requires me to have stuff in my discard to use. So I definitely want to plan for that. So we'll set those here. Now you'll notice we have a bullet in the line and a bullet coming. I'll explain how those bullets work momentarily. Alright, so now we got to draw new goal cards. Now if there was one in the veto goal, it would automatically go into one of those spots and you wouldn't be able to veto it this round, but we don't have that, so we'll draw 2 new ones here and we'll check them out. So first one is to empty the obstacle deck twice. Ooh, that might be hard. That makes it for a longer game. And the next one is to have 2 bullets in my hand. I think that's entirely possible. So I guess I'll go with both. We'll try it out, see what happens. Now, I have not beaten level 2, and so if we get past level 2, it'll be a miracle for me. And so one thing to note, there is a rare occasion where when you draw these cards here, you might actually complete it by what you have in your hand or something like that. And so if that is the case, you have to discard that card underneath the goal stack and draw a new card. They won't let you have it easy. All right, so let's briefly talk about bullets. Now, bullets are what can kill you. They can end up in your hand. Anytime a bullet exits the line, other than by being destroyed, then it will end up in your hand. And there's nothing you can do with it. You can't play it. You can't discard it. There's nothing you can do with it. So it remains in your hand and clogs up your hand and counts towards your hand size. Now, there are some characters that allow you to get rid of bullets, like the Katana lets you destroy a flying bullet, or there is another one that lets you heal a bullet from your hand. But for the most part, if bullets end up in your hand, they're going to stay in your hand. So you have to be very careful with that. All right, so let's go ahead and get this going here. Now, with that in mind, I definitely want to have the Katana the next round because I want to be able to shoot one of those 2 bullets. I also want to have How About Glass in my hand. So I think I will get rid of 2 of these cards. I guess these 2 here to deal with the Katana. And the reason why I'm just doing 2 here and not dealing with anything else is, first, let's look at some of these cards. Now, whatever cards I play are going to really get rid of, the first 1 or 2 cards here, so I don't have to worry about these. But Punch here, this is the old player card. This is a P1 card that was in my deck. Now, it says Unarmed Dude, and he only shoots if another enemy shoots. So if I deal with the Katana and this guy gets added to my player discard by maneuver, then nobody's going to shoot, and so these guys won't shoot. So I don't have to worry about those. So that's why I'm just dealing with the Katana. I want to draw the Katana into here so I can use it the next turn to destroy a flying bullet. And so that's going to be my play. I add him here, and then I will refill my hand, drawing up to 4 now. These 2 get maneuvered out of the way into my discard, and these 2 into the obstacle discard. Now we check the goal, and I haven't emptied the obstacle deck, and I have no bullets in my hand, so we're moving on. And the obstacle abilities, nothing happens because, again, these unarmed dudes do not shoot unless somebody else does. So these move along to the end here, and then we'll add the bullet and a couple more cards here. Now, again, if a bullet leaves the line, so if I maneuver a bullet, the bullet ends up in my hand. So the only way to get rid of bullets is destroying them. If you destroy them, they go back into the bullet deck. So the first thing I want to do is play Katana. And so if I play Katana, I will destroy this bullet here. I think that's the right play. And the next thing I want to do is I'm gonna do a knockout. See, I'm gonna play How About Glass. Now, its value is worth as many cards in my discard pile, and there's 2 discs in my discard pile, so it's worth 2. I'm gonna knock out this guy here. And the reason why I want to knock him out is because his ability won't happen. And also when he leaves the area by maneuver or otherwise, he will end up in the obstacle deck rather than in my deck. The punches just aren't that good. So I don't want him in my discard pile. Now this one's going to end up in my discard pile, but one of them won't. Now it does mean that the shotgun's going to shoot, and I guess I'm okay with that. But I think that's going to be my play for now. I'll leave these other 2 cards for the next turn. And so now we refill, adding 2 cards to my hand. And I got some cards to deal with the bullets, so that's helpful. And then we maneuver. We're maneuvering the first 2 here. Again, the empty space, you count it anyways. And so this one gets added to my discard. And these 2 go into the obstacle discard. And then we check our goals. Of course, we haven't completed any. And then we have the obstacle abilities. First, we draw a card from the pillar. So that's nice. And then the shotgun's going to shoot. Oh, well, that's 2 more bullets back into the deck. But at this point, we move everything down. And then we'll draw. And it's actually not too bad. Not too bad. Considering what I have to use right now, it really could be worse. So let's see how we want to play this out. First of all, I want to use this one here to shoot this bullet. And so that one goes into the bullet pile there. And I do have this other How About Glass, and it's worth 3 right now. And so I'm tempted to use it on this other bullet. Now I am realizing that I need to have 2 bullets in my hand. And the reason why I haven't accepted any bullets into my hand yet is because I want to do this last in this level. I'd rather work my way through the obstacles first. Although, I don't know, maybe having them early will give me a better chance to heal from them. But I haven't seen any heals yet, so I'm destroying some of those for now. Oh, I don't know what the right move is here. I guess I'm going to attack the shotgun. Yeah, because I don't want him shooting. So we'll destroy the shotgun. And I think that's all I'm going to do for this turn. I don't want to do any more. So at this point, the shotgun gets added to my hand, and I draw one more card to make up to 4 here. Ooh, I got flipped the table. That was good, because now I can use that against a bullet. But then I maneuver out these 2 cards. This one's upside down, so it goes into the obstacle discard, and then this one goes into my discard. And then these 3 here are back into the obstacle discard. And so we haven't completed any objectives, and this is an unarmed dude, so he's not going to shoot because nobody else is shooting. So everything gets moved down and we refill. And oh, it's actually not too bad of a line here. I think I'm going to let this bullet hit me, or end up in my hand. I think I'll do that. And I'm going to pay this to flip over this one. I don't want him in my deck. And I'll use the shotgun to shoot the gun. So I've played 2 cards, I'm gaining 1. We'll add that to my hand right now, drawing another card as well. So now we move on to the maneuvers, and so the bullet ends up in my hand. So now I have 1 bullet in my hand, and again, I can't do anything with that, it remains in my hand. But now we're on to maneuvering this one here, and this one ends up in the obstacle discard pile, these 2 as well. So I didn't add anything to my deck. That may be a problem because I don't want to run out of cards. We check objectives, we're still the same there. So we're going to move everything down because nothing else happens at this moment. And still not a bad setup here. And so I will use, how about a glass? I have plenty of cards in my discard here to destroy this bullet. And I don't want this dodge, and I don't want this guy to shoot. Ooh. And if he shoots, then he shoots. So that's 2 bullets. But if I play 2 more cards, I think I'm going to end up with this dodge. I think that's going to happen. So I'm going to play the gun to destroy the gun. And that's all I'm going to do. So I'm only moving a little bit before bad things happen. So this gets added to my hand. I don't get to draw any new cards, which is unfortunate because now I can't draw anything to deal with this bullet. Maybe I should have planned that better. But this one gets added to my discard pile here. These 2 go into here. Haven't completed goals yet. All this stuff is sliding down because no obstacle abilities are triggering right now. But here we are with lots of bullets in play. And so I have to just realize that I'm probably going to end up with this bullet here. But maybe I can deal with some other stuff. I think I want to play these 2 here to get double trouble. This one's kind of cool. You play this card along with another to use it twice. So I like that card there. And the question is, do I want to do 1 more? I think I do, and I don't want this punch. I'm going to flip that over. All right, and I can't play my bullet. So now we add double trouble to my hand. I draw 2 cards, hopefully something good. We got a pillar, or plan, to draw 2 cards. So that's going to be nice when we can use that. But since I played 3, these 3 are going. Now this one goes in the obstacle discard. The bullet goes into my hand. Well, guess what? I completed that goal, so I guess that's a good thing. But this one here goes in my discard, and then these 3 all go into the obstacle discard. But here we are. I'm fighting against 2 bullets coming up. This is not good. This is really not good. If I don't deal with those bullets, they're going to end up in my hand. Okay, so I'm going to do something weird. I'm going to use double trouble along with plan. And so I'll get to draw 4 cards. So there's 3 here. So I add these to my hand. They don't look good. And then we have to shuffle this here and draw 1 more card. And let's see what we get. And it's a plan again. Well, I might as well play that. Oh my. I'm really risking it here. I'm playing so many cards. This is not good. And so I draw 2 more cards to my hand. I got a lot of cards in my hand. This is actually the largest hand size I've had. Oh, this is not good. Well, I have pliers, okay? So I play pliers, heal 1 bullet from my hand. So I'll heal that. It goes into the bullet deck. So that's good. but I have to really be careful here. There's another bullet in my hand. I have double trouble and dodge. So what if I play double trouble and dodge and use both of those dodges against one of these bullets here? I think that's how that card works. I question how that card works because it's not exactly clear here. So it says you play this along with another card to use it twice. It's just like you use 2 copies of the card, so you can use each on a different obstacle. But it doesn't say you can't use it on the same obstacle. It just says so you can use each on a different obstacle. I'm assuming you can use them on the same obstacle. You can let me know if you found out different on that one. But either way, I'm going to end up losing here because I'm playing so many cards. And so I will destroy, I think, this bullet. I guess it really doesn't matter. They're all going to end up in, or these 2 are going to end up in my hand. I'm just wondering if I should do something else. Like maybe use the gun to destroy the katana. No, it would be a gun and a gun. To destroy the katana. That way the katana ends up in my hand and I can use it to destroy a flying bullet. Okay. So, wow. That was quite the play. So we add this to my hand, draw a card, and it's a dodge, unfortunately. I think this is where my life is about to end. Alright, so all these cards, well, first of all these cards end up in my discard except the 2 bullets go into my hand. So now I have 3 bullets in my hand. 1 more and I lose the game. Now all of these here are going to go in the obstacle discard. And then there's nothing there to activate, so then we're going to refill. And of course there's a bullet. That's not good. But now we have to shuffle the obstacle discard into a new deck, but that means we get to actually mark that we've gone up 1 on our goal here. Alright, so here we are. And so here's the problem. See, at this point, when the bullets clog up your hand, you really are limited on what you can do. Now, I can play the katana right now, which will destroy this bullet. And that might be the right thing to do. So yeah, I will destroy the bullet. Alright, so that's done. But now I have these cards here. Now, if I do not spend these cards, I will not be able to draw a new card. So all I'm going to have is this to go into the next turn. Now that might be okay in general, but with the katana coming out the next turn, that's not going to be good. And I actually don't know how I'm going to deal with that katana. Because things are just going to get worse and worse here. I've taken too many hits. I just have a dodge and a punch. It's not much to go against what's coming. But I think what I'm going to do is spend these 2 here to knock this out. And so what that's going to do is we're going to go into maneuvers here. The pliers will end up in my discard. This one will go in the obstacle discard as well as all of these. And now we activate this one here. And unfortunately, this guy is shooting, so these other 2 ones are going to shoot as well. So that's going to be 3 bullets back into the obstacle discard. That's no good. But we're moving on, and we're going to refill here. And I guess it could be worse. I forgot to draw my card for the round, but I don't have much to work with here. Now, you do have the option of waiting, right? You can wait, and this card goes into the obstacle discard. But what happens is these things still activate. And if I wait right now, this guy's going to shoot again, causing this one to shoot. This one's going to shoot. I'm going to have so many bullets coming, and we're almost out of bullets here. I really don't think there's much I can do at this point. And so what we're going to do is we're going to play the baseball bat, and I will get this guy with a gun. But then we're going to move on. I draw him into my hand. All right. Then this punch here gets put in my discard because of maneuvers. This baseball bat goes into here. We check the goals, and I still haven't completed that second goal. But now we activate the card. So this dude's shooting, and so is this one because of that. So that's 2. And then the dude with the katana causes me to discard a hand except for bullets. So I've got to discard this into the obstacle discard pile. And so all I have going into the next turn are bullets. And so these slide down just like so. The writing is very much on the wall because there's nothing I can do but wait. And so if I wait here, this one, I just double check the rules. It goes in my player discard here. And then nothing. We skip on to check the goals. The goals are checked, and I still haven't completed them. And unfortunately, they're going to shoot again. 1 and 2, and that's going to exhaust the bullet deck, and that's going to finish me for the game. Well, I thought I might be able to get to level 3, but it turns out I didn't do that very well. And so this was the tutorial and solo playthrough for SuperHot the Card Game by Manuel, Correia, and Gray Fox Games. Let me know what you think of this game. This is such a challenging but yet such a fun game. I know I don't give my thoughts too often in my tutorials here, but I love it. It's one of my favorite deck building games. It's kind of like a deck management sort of game. But yeah, it's super challenging, super fun, and super hot. So let me know in the comments below what you thought of the game, or point out any rules errors I may have made. Please also like and subscribe to this channel if you like the content you see here. And if you'd like to support me on Patreon, I have a link in the description, and I thank everyone who has supported me thus far. And I thank you very much for joining me on Tabletop for One. Have a great night.